Hey there, folks. My name's Tom. You're watching Rant District. Just wanted to talk briefly about something that just ran through my mind based on a video that I just saw. I want to talk about the vinyl community as a marketing tool, this time featuring Discogs. So I I popped onto YouTube and saw there was a video from NTX Vinyl doing an interview of Discogs. I was like, oh, interesting. So I just hit play. And then a second later, I was like, wait a minute. Discogs, the CEO and the COO, I believe, are they just did a video a week ago yesterday. So 2 Fridays ago, there was a video with Steve Westman. And then yesterday, a new video came out with NTX Vinyl. So this seems kind of planned. Like, first one on a Friday, next one a following Friday, both from channels having a reach of about 16,000 followers. So, and I'm not picking on Discogs for marketing. I've had the mindset for a while that Discogs is it's on the decline, and I really enjoy Discogs as a whole. But things don't last forever. Like I used to really enjoy Twitter. It's a shell of its former self. Stuff like that happens with technology, and I kind of feel like ever since Discogs did the shift to a putting the selling fee, adding a 9% fee on top of shipping prices. That's kind of been the where I think sales have kind of dropped off, in my perception. I don't know their sales data, but just reading the forums on Discogs, it seems like things are kind of on the way down a bit. And correlation does not equal causation. It could be unrelated to that. It could be just an economic thing. But for a lot of people, when you're trying to buy a record that maybe is available, you're in the U.S., you want to buy a record from the U.K., and you already have to deal with the UK Discogs grading system where near mint equals VG plus, VG plus equals VG. You kind of just have to know that. But it's expensive. The shipping is expensive, and then sellers from one country, doesn't have to be the UK and the US. Sells from one country, shipping to another country. It's probably expensive shipping, and now the seller has to account for not only the piece of the action that PayPal gets, but also the piece of the action on the shipping that Discogs gets. So there's a lot of things going on, but I see Discogs in kind of a decline, in my mind. That could be completely false. So to me, it's not a weird thing that Discogs would be doing marketing to try to get people back who may have drifted away, particularly from a marketplace perspective. Because although the basis of Discogs is a database, the money is made as a marketplace. Discogs gets a cut of every sale. Now, being that I perceive there's been a decline in sales and there's been a decline in trust, I think, in Discogs for a number of reasons, but I think there's been a lot of fraudulent activity lately. The two videos which appear to be marketing this videos that Steve Westman put out a week ago yesterday, and then yesterday, Friday, exactly 1 week later, NTX Vinyl put out. They both of them talk about fraud mitigation and how Lloyd, the COO, has a background in fraud mitigation. I feel like they're trying to build back up trust, plus trying to build up sales. It's like, on the NTX Vinyl video here, and Lloyd, the COO, going, oh, you find that record you really want, that Grail, just comb through the inventory of the seller, add a couple of more records in there, just he's selling, and I get it. But this is another example of using the vinyl community, I believe, as a marketing tool. And I'm not faulting Discogs. But, it's like, Steve Westman's doing it, to get views because he makes money on views. NTX Vinyl is doing it because he gets views and he makes money on views. And these are also two people who love music and love records. So, there is that. Again, correlation is not always causation. But on neither of these videos do they talk about things that I think, besides, fraud, things that I think are problematic with Discogs that they could possibly address. I think the biggest problem with Discogs from a marketplace perspective, from my perspective, I'm mostly a buyer. I sell a little bit here and there, a couple records a month. I'm inconsequential as a seller. But there's a lack of trust in the marketplace based on the feedback system. Buyers who have been on Discogs for a minute know that are conditioned, I should say, to not give negative feedback to a buyer if there's been to a seller if there's been a problem, because of the very strong likelihood of retaliatory feedback. And so you have a system where, if you're relatively unfamiliar with Discogs and you're looking and you're going, oh my goodness, the seller has 98.9 seller rating. That's fantastic. It is not. I mean, anybody under 100 is questionable. I'd say like 99.5 is maybe the cutoff for a seller rating, where below that, they probably regularly have issues. If you've got 1,000 ratings and you've got like one negative and 70 neutrals, you have pretty much 100% rating. Even though you didn't get 100% positive ratings, you really got more like 99.3% positive rating. So it's misleading. And negatives on Discogs are what I consider shadow negatives. It's where somebody's going, man, I don't want to put a negative because I don't want to get a negative back against me, because if I get too many negatives as a buyer, sellers who have a minimum buyer rating may not sell to me. There's a dynamic there that skews in favor of sellers, and you don't get a chance to rate here's the if you could rate a seller just on order process, communication, maybe shipping, speed, shipping cost, a better idea of what a seller is about. But even if they don't do that, if it's just positive, negative, neutral, I would like to see the rating system be to account for the neutrals as not positives. So the retaliatory feedback that prevents buyers, for the most part, from leaving negatives is one issue. The other issue is, and NTX Vinyl kind of talked about, he didn't talk about this, but NTX Vinyl talked about how he sells on Discogs, and he's a big enough seller that he has an account rep, essentially. There are very large sellers on Discogs who have sales in the tens of thousands and no negative feedbacks. The wink, wink, nod here is that an account rep for a large seller will just remove the negatives, because there's really not any accountability there. Nobody's, somebody who legitimately has had a negative experience just kind of has that wiped away. So there's no faith in the feedback system at Discogs. Steve Westman didn't talk about it on his marketing video, and TX Vinyl didn't talk about it on his marketing video. And that's not examining the totality of the situation and the kind of questions you should be asking when you have access to the CEO and the COO of Discogs. You should ask some of the tough questions, not just the softballs, and as a thank you for the marketing opportunity. So, it's disappointing. I'm waiting to see, this coming Friday, what large channel is going to have the next Discogs marketing value. I have a couple of ideas, but I'm not going to share them. But there's clearly a marketing campaign going on in the vinyl community, or VC 2.0, really, as I refer to it at this point, that the vinyl community is being used for. It's being used for marketing. I harken back to the lyrics, from 92, I think. Some of those who work forces are the same who burn crosses. And that's a lyric from the Rage Against the Machine song, Shilling in the Name of. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.